Well, listeners on centralcoastradio.com, there is a very, very big tour coming to us later this year in November. And of course, I'm talking about the Screaming Jets, who have also got an amazing brand new album dropping in October as well. And we thought today we're going to chat more about the tour because we've got an interview coming up for the album, but we thought we'd talk a little bit more about the tour today. So welcome to the program from the Screaming Jets, Jimmy Hocking. Welcome, mate.
Hey, how you doing?
I am going so well. Jimmy, we are so excited about this tour that's coming up. We're hearing new music coming out from you guys, and that's just making us more excited about the tour. Tell us a little bit about how you guys are feeling about this great Aussie tour that you're about to embark on.
Well, it's no secret that all of us in the band love being on tour. I mean, it's every weekend we go off and play somewhere new. We get to relive our kind of like youth experience of being in a rock band again. So we love being on the road. We love hanging out together and making music. And as you say, because we've got some new music to play, a new album about to be dropped, we're really excited. It's been a couple of years in the making, this record, because we started the process kind of in the lockdown period, and it's now sort of seen a light of day. So it's been quite a different process. But I think we've enjoyed it, and I think the results are great. I hope everybody's going to like the album when they hear it too.
Oh, definitely. I was driving home last night and listening to Nothing to Lose, and it's just an amazing track. Your guitar playing comes through so strong on that track. You must be not only excited about getting out onto the tour, but being able to play tracks like that live. That must be filling you with a little bit of excitement.
Well, it really is, and I mean, thank you for saying so. Nothing to prove, nothing to lose. It was a great song, and I mean, Scotty and Paulie did the lion's share of the writing on this record, but we're a real collective when it comes to making the tracks kind of work. So, I had a lot of input for my own parts about creating the sort of opening melodies and the solo section and stuff like that. So it's really great fun to do it. And, I got to use some of my cool vintage guitars on the track. So I'm such a nerd, I love listening to that stuff just to hear the guitars. I'm like, oh yeah, man, that's my 69 Gold Top. That's killer, So, some things never change. And to get on the road and play that stuff, the very first night we played it, we were a bit nervous because we just never really played it in properly. We created it sort of between us and in the studio, and then once we went out to play, sometimes you're like thinking, I hope it stands up as a song, to kind of play physically on stage. And we had such a great response. It was really, really awesome. Actually, it's a great tune.
Talking of great responses, you're also getting great responses for Second Chance, the track that we're about to play on the show in a moment. People are calling it the greatest Screaming Jets ballad of all time, which is a pretty big call because I put Sad Song up there as one of the best rock ballads of any band's ever recorded. So you must be feeling pretty good hearing feedback like that is one of the best ballads that you've ever written.
Well, I haven't heard that feedback, so I'm extremely happy and encouraged to hear you say that, because I agree with you. I love October Grey, and I love Sad Song, and I think they are like classic Australian kind of ballads, I guess you would call them in a way. But it's really a strange thing in my mind when we come up with a song like this, because I wonder if people perceive us as a heavy rock band only, and whether they think that some of this stuff is a little bit outside the Screaming Jets wheelhouse, which it's not. But, the perception is a strange thing to understand sometimes when you're on the inside. But I love the song. It took a bit of work to get it up and running. We did a lot of edits of this song to try and really get an arrangement that we were all completely happy with. So it's hard for me to separate myself sometimes from the process of the song when I hear it. But it's another kind of Paul Wazine classic in a sense, because he's always been the key songwriter of the band, and these are songs that are really deep songs in many ways. That's really part of his psyche to be able to write like that.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned before about everything being held up a little bit by COVID. What was that time like for you? It was a rough time for a lot of people in the arts industry. What was that like, though, not being able to get out there and play shows when you guys are a band that loves to get out there on the stage?
Well, it was challenging, and I don't want to sound like, oh, it was really hard for us, blah blah blah, because a lot of people did it really hard, especially down south. I'm in Melbourne. There was a lot of problems with people being locked up, not locked up, but like not being able to go about their regular lives for that period of time. And unfortunately for me, I live in a happy house. I've got a great partner, I've got great kids. So we live in a happy environment. So that was the ace up our sleeve. But certainly, financially, obviously, it was a challenge for anybody working in the arts, because the industry just went from 100 to 0 overnight. And yeah, it is tough not to be able to go out and do the thing that you do, that thing that you identify yourself as, to go out and play. So not just for the members of the Jets, but for just about everybody who lives and breathes in the world of music and arts that we do. It was a very challenging time.
Yeah, and there was weird things as well. Like, I'm in Melbourne as well, but I'm kind of on the fringe of Melbourne, so I'm almost out in Gippsland. And I found the hardest thing for me was the fact that I'm only about 10 kilometres from where the Ring of Steel was around Melbourne at the time. So I had mates who lived on the other side who were going out to pubs of a night time while I was in lockdown. I think that kind of thing was what made it even weirder. And like you said, we were very lucky that we had caring partners as well. So what did you do to get through that time?
Well, we were doing some homeschooling, as far as online schooling goes for the kids. So that took them a bit of time each day. And really, we were just trying to stay active. We were taking the kids out for a bike ride every sort of morning. We have a little exercise session and homeschool sort of session for the kids at home. So because I've got kids, that takes up time. But I did some online teaching, which, I have a few students anyway, but I did some online stuff with people. We did try to get creative with the Jets, and we actually made 2 recordings during lockdown. We did an EP called The Bitter Pill, which was kind of a rework of a couple of songs, and really, in a sense, that was an experiment to see if it was doable to create a recording from remote places. So we had to, get the Cam McGlinchey, our drummer, is up in Queensland, so he wasn't in lockdown, and he could go in the studio and create a drum track to click that we all got sent, for example, emailed to our own computers, and we just worked at home on our parts and then collaborated via Zoom meetings. Yep. So it ended up going really well, and we all got our heads into that idea, and we did the EP. Then we decided we were going to set about doing the re-record of the first Jets album. It's a cracking album, of course, All for One.
Yep.
But come to the present day, we don't own that album anymore. We can't release it. We can't sell it. We can't do anything with that record. So we decided to make a new version of it. And, we thought we might get some of it, maybe half of the record together through lockdown, and then maybe go in the studio afterwards. But as it turns out, it went so well that we pretty much got the whole record down during the lockdown period. So we did do some creative stuff, but as you say, it wasn't a level playing field for people. People were watching, some activities were allowed to happen, some sporting activities were allowed to happen, but then we couldn't play a gig to more than, 25 people in a room that would hold 200. So it was kind of ridiculous,
Yeah. Now, this tour, one of the things I love about this tour is you guys are getting back to the grassroots, playing places like Chelsea Heights, RSL clubs and places like that. Was that something that you guys really wanted to do with this tour, get back to those grassroots kind of clubs and pubs?
Well, we've still been touring quite a bit these last few years, and we try to. Obviously, there's some favourites that people like to go to. Punters like to go to certain hotels, but we try to mix it up. Like if we've done a certain kind of venue last tour, we try to do maybe something different to get to everybody. Because we've got a great fan base still, and it's and it's really amazing that people have followed us, for so many years. And so we try to mix up the destinations a little bit so that we can actually get out and play to as many people as we can. So we do make conscious decisions, but sometimes those decisions are also affected by what's available. And coming out of lockdown, for example, I know we're out of it now, but everybody suddenly hit the road running, and all the venues that we used to play were either not functioning or were being booked up by people who had contracts during the lockdown period that hadn't fulfilled their gig. So it became a tricky time. So we had to go and discover some new venues, and that led to us actually going back to some of the older venues that we used to play, as you mentioned. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes to get those decisions up and running in many ways.
Definitely. And I should say for all the listeners out there as well, all of those dates are up on our website, and there's also more dates to come as well. So we'll post those as they come. Jimmy, you guys must find it really hard to put together a set list these days. You've got such an amazing back catalogue of music, and then you've got the new tracks coming through as well. What's that like, sitting down and working out a set list for a tour like this?
It's a nightmare because, of course, you have to appreciate that people have got certain songs that they really love and they really want to hear, no matter how many times you play it. So let's say there's half a dozen of those tunes that really have to be in the set, because people would complain bitterly if they didn't hear October Grey or Better or, any of those tunes, Shivers even. So then, we're left with X amount of time to put together what we want to do. And we always feel that, we're trying to create a great show. So we need to have highs and lows. And we want to create, put the new songs in. But it's also as a tenuous affair because, that may create tension in the audience because they might want to keep rocking at this point. And, there's so much to think about and so little time to really do it. I mean, we could easily do a 2-hour show, like just easily.
Yeah.
But every tour we go out there to play, I read the comments on social media sometimes, and for the most part, people are happy. But there's always someone bitching about, they didn't play this, and it's like, no matter how hard you try, you can't make it work for everybody,
You hear it in the crowd too when you're at a show. You'll hear someone going, "Oh, they better do this, or I'm going to go home disappointed tonight." So, but mate, I should ask. I know it's probably asking a favourite child, but do you have a favourite track that you love to play live?
Oh, that is a tricky one, and it's. You would think I'd have an immediate answer, but I have a number of favourites, but they're probably favourites for reasons other than you might think. Because I've been in there, as part of the creative process, and I might have come up with guitar parts that I particularly liked, and that will be a reason that I like the tune. And I mean, you mentioned Sad Song. I know that's kind of an older song now, but it was actually my idea to get the acoustic guitar on that and do the single note thing a la Brian May. And I really liked the outcome of the track. So that's kind of a favourite song of mine, as is October Grey, because I like what we ended up with, and I like what I ended up playing on that record. So, but there's lots of reasons I might just listen to something this week and go, actually, that's a killer song. You know what I mean? It could just change from month to month. So it's a tricky thing to think about.
I'm feeling a bit old now that you've called Sad Song an older track, because I can distinctly remember that coming out when I was in high school. So I'm feeling a little bit old at the moment. But mate, I was a fully blown adult by then, but let's not talk about it. Well, mate, we can all reminisce at these shows because this is going to be an absolutely amazing tour. To finish off, what would you like to say to people out there who are about to go out and grab tickets for this professional misconduct tour?
Well, we're so happy that people are still, supporting the band. And I know all of us, have had ups and downs, but to still be here after some nearly 33 years now in the Screaming Jets. I've been in the band for 30 years. It's a great pleasure to look out of the crowd and see people still into what we do and still supporting us. And so thanks to all those people. And I hope you come out and just rock your socks off with us on this next tour, because we're so looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, I cannot wait to see you guys at Chelsea Heights. But Jimmy, thank you so much for chatting to us today. It's been an absolute honour having you on the show, and can't wait to see you at Chelsea Heights.
Thanks so much, Dave, and thanks for your support too.